Good day. Today I have prepared a very interesting and informative material for you. Anyone who is familiar with Simone Saccone's amazing book, The Secrets of Stradivarius, is well aware of the author's delight in the elegant beauty of the ancient Italian varnish. At the same time, many modern violin makers are frankly perplexed. They carefully examine color photographs of violins by famous Italian masters in literature or on the internet and become confused. In these pictures, there is not the slightest sign of the unique beauty of the varnish coating that Saccone so passionately admires. An obvious contradiction arises, which forces us to make hasty critical conclusions. Many masters begin to question the very hypothesis of the existence of the legendary Stradivarius violin varnish. In fact, there is nothing surprising in the current paradoxical situation. We know that virtually all known violins of the famous Cremonese miracle worker passed through the hands of the author of the unique book, The Secrets of Stradivari. Saccone was so deeply imbued with the work of Stradivari that he did not necessarily need to hold a well-preserved violin in his hands to fully admire the instruments of the great master. The maestro is able to reconstruct in his imagination the original beauty of Stradivari's instruments based on local remains of authentic colored fragments. He learned to see the luxurious creations of the greatest master's hands through the centuries, to overcome the negative consequences of long-term use. Unfortunately, time has not been in our favor. In fact, we are deprived of the opportunity to admire ancient Italian violins in all their original splendor. As a rule, they have long since lost their noble vestments and have come to us in the pitiful remains of their former lacquered luxury. In order to learn how to recreate in your own imagination the great Italian creations from the remains of their former greatness, you need the vast practical experience of Maestro Saccone. An ordinary violin maker cannot even dream of this fabulous privilege. In order to remove misunderstandings and to some extent rehabilitate the technology of classical Italian masters, I want to show you my new violins. At the same time, I dare to assure you that they fully correspond to the condition in which the instruments left the workshop of Antonio Stradivari. Thus, you will have a unique opportunity to see with your own eyes that the beauty of antique Italian varnish is not a myth at all, but a real man-made miracle. I will demonstrate my violins outdoors, in natural light, to exclude possible suspicions of artificial light manipulation. I will try to emphasize all the optical and artistic merits of Italian violin varnish without haste, in the most advantageous and visual way. At the same time, of course, I will make my necessary comments. Watch carefully. I don't think you'll ever have the good fortune to admire actual Stradivari varnish again. Those of you who regularly watch my videos know very well that I'm a fairly open violin maker and generously share my professional knowledge. Therefore, soon after the demonstration of this material, a new video will be released in which I will openly tell about the technological methods that will allow any violin maker to repeat the beauty of the legendary Italian varnish. Here are my two new violins. I will slowly demonstrate the varnish coating from different angles and with different zoom levels. I will try not to overload you with my comments. For those specialists who have practical experience working with well-preserved examples of classical Italian heritage, my comments will not add anything. For those who are deprived of this happiness and are familiar with Italian antique varnish only from hearsay, I will say right away that neither this nor any other video filming is able to convey the mysterious beauty of the varnish coating in its entirety. In live communication with Italian varnish coating, there are so many internal iridescences, so many light reflexes that any photograph or video filming significantly impoverishes the overall picture. In fact, this is the root of the misunderstanding of the phenomenon of antique Italian varnish by many modern violin makers. When a modern violin maker characterizes the varnish coating of his instrument, he pays attention to three main parameters. The master notes the transparency of the varnish layer, then notes the shiny mirror-like surface, and, of course, admires the color scheme. Almost any experienced master is able to provide his varnish coating with all these three qualities. Meanwhile, when we deal with genuine Italian varnish, it is necessary to point out two more extremely precious qualities. Antique Italian varnish has optical depth. It creates a three-dimensional appearance, a complete illusion of spatial depth. This optical depth has a magical effect. It is impossible to look at it enough. It draws you in like a whirlpool. In my video, there are successful angles when the third spatial dimension is unexpectedly revealed and a real insight occurs. I strongly advise you to pay attention to this. But there is another unique quality in antique Italian varnish which radically distinguishes it from all other varnish coatings. I mean the internal mother-of-pearl glow, which is called the Nacré effect. This word is of French origin, but has firmly established itself in the English language. The varnish coating of my violins clearly shows mother-of-pearl shimmers that shine from the depths and make the varnish coating mobile, conveying the trepidation of living flesh. This is the most spectacular and fantastic quality of old Italian varnish, which no one has ever been able to replicate. I do not take myself personally into account in this case. I can only say that I have dedicated my whole life to unraveling the complex Italian technology of varnishing musical instruments. I do not think that anyone else will have enough stubbornness and patience to understand this incredibly witty and triumphant technology. Nevertheless, such technology exists, functions perfectly, and you yourselves are living witnesses to it. Before demonstrating my new violins, I assured you that in the next video, I will definitely share my knowledge. In your presence, I will go through all the stages of varnish coating. I will introduce you to the materials used, tell you about their interaction. I will try to bring you closer to the state when everyone will be able to repeat the ancient Italian technology of varnishing their musical instruments.